If you're over 80 and your prostate is starting to control your sleep, your energy, your confidence, and even how far you're willing to travel from a bathroom, I want you to hear me clearly. This is not something you should ignore, and it is not something you have to face helplessly. At this age, the goal is not perfection. The goal is comfort, function, dignity, and giving your body every reasonable advantage you can. And one simple habit I want you to seriously consider is adding Moringa to your daily routine in a smart, realistic, medically responsible way. Before I go further, I want to ask you something. What is the biggest issue you're dealing with right now? Waking up at night to urinate? A weak stream? Urgency? Dribbling? Or just the feeling that your bladder never fully empties? Tell me in the comments below. I read those concerns as real quality of life issues, not small complaints, and your answer may help someone else realize they're not alone. Now, let me say something important right away. Moringa is not a miracle cure. It is not a substitute for your doctor, your lab work, your prostate exam, or the medications you may truly need. I'm not here to sell you fantasy. I'm here to help you make better decisions. And when I look at prostate health after 80, I do not look for magic bullets. I look for steady daily habits that reduce stress on the body, support healthier inflammation levels, improve nutrition, and help you feel stronger and more stable over time. That is where Moringa becomes interesting. If you're in your 80s, you already know that the body changes. The prostate often enlarges with age. That condition is commonly called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. Benign means it is not cancer, but that does not mean it feels harmless. It can mean a slower urinary stream, more frequent trips to the bathroom, trouble getting started, stopping and starting, dribbling, and that frustrating feeling that you're done, but not really done. And one of the hardest parts is nighttime urination. When your sleep gets broken 2, 3, 4, even 5 times a night, it affects everything. Your energy drops, your mood changes, your concentration suffers, your balance may be worse, your risk of falls can go up. You may start planning your life around the nearest toilet. That is not just inconvenient. It can quietly shrink your world. So where does Moringa fit in? Moringa, especially the leaf, is a nutrient-dense plant that has been used in traditional diets for a long time. The leaves contain plant compounds with antioxidant activity, along with vitamins, minerals, and small amounts of protein and fiber. What gets people excited is that Moringa may help support some of the background issues that often travel with aging: inflammation, blood sugar imbalance, poor diet quality, and low intake of protective plant compounds. And while the research on Moringa specifically for prostate symptoms in older men is still limited, the broader idea makes sense. The healthier your overall metabolic and inflammatory environment is, the better chance your body has of functioning well, including your urinary system. I want to be honest with you, because honesty builds trust. We do not have strong evidence that Moringa directly shrinks an enlarged prostate in the way a prescription medication might. We also do not have enough high-quality human research to say it prevents prostate cancer or treats serious prostate disease. I would never tell you that. But I can tell you this. Many men over 80 are undernourished in subtle ways, even if they are eating enough calories. They may eat less variety, fewer greens, fewer antioxidant-rich foods, and more convenience foods. They may also deal with constipation, blood sugar swings, weight gain around the middle, low energy, and chronic low-grade inflammation. In that situation, a simple daily addition like Moringa leaf powder or Moringa tea can be a practical way to improve the nutritional quality of the routine without demanding a complete lifestyle overhaul overnight. That matters more than most people realize. At 80, huge dramatic changes are hard to sustain. Small, repeatable choices win. A tablespoon of chaos doesn't help you. A teaspoon of consistency does. One reason I like the idea of Moringa in this age group is that it can be used as a food-like support rather than only as a supplement mindset. You can stir a small amount into soup, oatmeal, yogurt, or a smoothie if you tolerate those. You can use it as a tea earlier in the day. You can choose a capsule if taste is an issue. But the point is not just taking a pill and hoping for a miracle. The point is building a daily rhythm that says, I'm supporting my body on purpose. And that mindset changes a lot. Let me explain the prostate connection more clearly. Prostate symptoms after 80 are rarely about one single issue. Yes, the prostate may be enlarged, but symptoms can also be worsened by bladder irritation, constipation, fluid timing, diabetes, certain medications, poor sleep, inactivity, excess evening caffeine, alcohol, leg swelling that shifts back into circulation at night, and sometimes infections or more serious conditions that require prompt care. This is why I want you to think bigger than the prostate alone. If all you do is chase the symptom and ignore the whole body, you miss the real opportunity. Moringa may help as part of that bigger picture because it can support better daily nutrition and may help some people with healthier blood sugar patterns and a more anti-inflammatory diet overall. If your blood sugar runs high, for example, you may urinate more. If your diet is poor and your weight is creeping up, that can worsen inflammatory stress and put pressure on bladder and urinary function. If you are constipated, the bowel can physically press on nearby structures and make urinary symptoms feel worse. So when I talk about Moringa, I am not saying, here is the one answer. I am saying, here is one useful tool that fits into a smarter routine. I also want to say something that many older men need to hear. Prostate symptoms are common, but they should not be automatically dismissed as just old age. I never want you to assume everything is normal. Blood in the urine, burning with urination, fever, sudden inability to urinate, new pelvic pain, back pain, unexplained weight loss, or symptoms that change quickly need medical attention. If you have not been evaluated and you are struggling, please don't self-diagnose from the internet or from a friend at the barber shop. I can give you guidance through a video, but I cannot diagnose you personally. A proper evaluation matters, especially after 80. Now, if you and your clinician have ruled out urgent problems, and you're looking for ways to support your prostate and urinary health more naturally, this is the practical way I want you to think about Moringa. First, use the leaf, not random parts of the plant. Stick with Moringa leaf powder, Moringa leaf tea, or a reputable capsule made from the leaf. I do not want you experimenting with roots, bark, or mystery products from questionable sellers. Those products can be inconsistent, and in some cases, less safe. Quality matters. Choose brands that are transparent, ideally tested for contaminants such as heavy metals and microbes, because supplement quality varies much more than people think. Second, start small. More is not better. If you decide to try Moringa powder, a practical starting point is about half a teaspoon a day mixed into food. If you tolerate that well, you might increase gradually to 1 teaspoon a day. Some people use more, but I am not impressed by excess. In older adults, especially those taking several medications, gentle and consistent is the smarter path. If you prefer tea, 1 cup earlier in the day can be a simple option. If you use capsules, follow the product instructions and do not stack multiple products without a reason. Third, pay attention to timing. Because many men over 80 are dealing with nighttime urination, I generally like the idea of using Moringa in the morning or early afternoon, not late in the evening. If you make a warm tea of it at night and then wonder why you're up twice more to urinate, that is not the plant's fault. It's the timing. Front-load hydration earlier in the day when possible, then be more moderate later, especially 2 to 3 hours before bed, unless your doctor has given you different instructions. Fourth, watch how your body responds. Moringa is usually tolerated reasonably well in modest amounts, but some people notice stomach upset, loose stools, or nausea if they take too much or start too fast. If you are on medication for diabetes or blood pressure, be especially careful, because Moringa may affect blood sugar or blood pressure in some people. That does not mean it is dangerous for everyone. It means it deserves respect. And if you take blood thinners or other regular medicines, ask your doctor or pharmacist to review it with you. A good routine should make life simpler, not create avoidable medication problems. Now let me tell you why I think this topic matters so much after 80. Because at this age, you are no longer trying to win some perfect health contest. You are protecting independence. You are protecting sleep. You are protecting the confidence to leave the house, sit through a church service, visit family, go to a doctor's appointment, take a car ride, or simply make it through the night without fear of falling in the dark on the way to the bathroom. When men tell me, it's just a little prostate problem, I often hear a much bigger story underneath. I hear about fatigue. I hear about poor sleep. I hear about irritability. I hear about spouses waking up too. I hear about anxiety, embarrassment, and planning every outing around a restroom. So yes, this matters. And this is exactly why I do not want you putting all your hope in one herb. I want you building a system. Here is the kind of daily routine I would want you to consider. You wake up and hydrate early, not excessively, but deliberately. You eat a breakfast that is not just toast and sugar. You put something supportive into the day, maybe moringa and oatmeal or yogurt, or a small smoothie if that works for your digestion. You move your body, even if that means a short walk, gentle chair exercises, or standing up more often. You keep your bowels regular with enough fiber, fluids, and movement. You review how much caffeine you're getting, especially later in the day. You keep alcohol modest or avoid it if it clearly aggravates your bladder. You avoid drinking large amounts right before bed. If your ankles swell during the day, you ask your doctor whether elevating your legs earlier in the evening or adjusting medications might help reduce nighttime bathroom trips. You make your bedroom to bathroom path safer and well lit. You stop pretending broken sleep is harmless, and you use moringa as one consistent part of that overall strategy. That is how adults improve health. Not with hype, with systems. Let's talk about inflammation for a minute, because people throw that word around without explaining it. Inflammation is part of how the body responds to stress, damage, and illness. The problem is not inflammation itself. The problem is when the body seems to sit in a state of chronic irritation for too long. That background inflammatory burden is often influenced by poor diet, inactivity, abdominal weight gain, poor sleep, blood sugar issues, smoking, and other long-term stressors. Moringa contains plant compounds that appear to have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects in laboratory studies, and that is one reason it has gotten attention. But I want you to hear this correctly. Appears to have is not the same as proven to cure disease. The smart take is that moringa may be a helpful, supportive food or supplement in a healthy lifestyle, not a replacement for evidence-based medical care. That kind of balance is important, because older adults are often targeted by exaggerated supplement claims. If someone tells you moringa will clean out your prostate, reverse decades of symptoms overnight, or eliminate the need for medical evaluation, I want you to walk away from that message. That is not education. That is marketing. And frankly, it's disrespectful. You deserve better than that. You deserve a message that says, let's improve what we can improve. If you use moringa daily and it helps you eat better, feel a bit more energetic, stay more regular, and commit to healthier habits, that is already meaningful. If your nighttime symptoms improve because you cleaned up your evening fluid intake, reduced bladder irritants, treated constipation, stayed active, and got appropriate medical care, that is a win. If moringa becomes the small daily reminder that your health still matters at 80, that is a win too. I also want to address the emotional side, because men often minimize it. When urinary symptoms persist, many men quietly feel old before their time. They stop trusting their body. They feel embarrassed in social settings. They may avoid intimacy. They may worry that every symptom means cancer, and sometimes they carry that worry alone. If that sounds like you, I want you to know there is nothing weak about taking action now. In fact, ignoring symptoms for years is often what steals freedom. Paying attention is strength. And if you have already been prescribed medication for your prostate, that does not mean moringa is off the table. It means the conversation changes slightly. Medications such as alpha blockers or other prostate medicines can be very helpful for the right person. Some men do extremely well with them. Others need a medication adjustment, a different diagnosis, or additional evaluation. The practical question is not natural versus medical. The practical question is, what combination of safe strategies helps you function best? Sometimes that includes medication, sometimes pelvic floor work, sometimes dietary changes, sometimes treatment for sleep apnea, sometimes diabetes management, and yes, sometimes a carefully chosen plant supplement like Moringa as part of the background support. I want to give you a few realistic expectations if you decide to try it. Do not expect dramatic changes in 3 days. That mindset leads people to quit too soon or double the dose unnecessarily. Give your routine time. A few weeks of steady use, along with other smart changes, is a fairer way to judge whether it belongs in your life. Keep a simple notebook if you want. How many times are you getting up at night? How urgent is the urge? Are you straining? How is your energy? How is your digestion? Are you feeling more stable during the day? Simple observations are often more useful than vague impressions. And let me say this clearly. If symptoms are significant, do not delay evaluation while trying natural things first. After 80, I want you to rule out the important stuff: urinary retention, infection, medication side effects, uncontrolled diabetes, significant enlargement, kidney issues, and prostate cancer are not things to guess about. Natural support works best when serious problems are not being ignored. Now, you may be wondering, if Moringa is so modest, why single it out at all? Because it checks several boxes at once. It is relatively simple. It can be used daily. It supports food quality rather than just feeding the supplement mentality. It may provide beneficial plant compounds. It can fit into routines without much effort. And for many older adults, easy matters. The best habit is not the most impressive habit. It is the one you actually keep. I also like that Moringa can become a gateway habit. When someone adds one intentional health step in the morning, they are often more likely to make a second good choice later. They take the walk. They skip the extra evening coffee. They drink less soda. They remember their medications. They stop snacking mindlessly at night. That chain reaction is powerful. Never underestimate the value of a habit that reminds you every single day that your body is worth caring for. At the same time, I don't want to over-romanticize it. Some people simply won't like the taste. Some will try it and feel no obvious difference. Some may stop because of stomach upset. That's fine. Health is not about forcing one solution on everyone. If Moringa doesn't suit you, the larger lesson still stands. Build a prostate-friendly routine that supports bladder health, sleep, weight, mobility, bowel regularity, and medical follow-up. That is the real strategy. Let me give you one more important point that often gets overlooked. Constipation and prostate symptoms frequently aggravate each other. A lot of men focus only on urination and forget the bowel completely. If stool is sitting there day after day, it can increase pressure and make urinary symptoms harder to manage. This is another reason I care about diet quality. A man who adds a little Moringa but continues living on processed food, too little fiber, too little movement, and too little water during the day may not get much benefit. But a man who uses Moringa as part of a better eating pattern may notice a real difference in how his body feels overall. Sometimes the best prostate support starts with fixing what seems unrelated. And please don't overlook sleep. If you snore heavily, stop breathing at night, feel exhausted during the day, or fall asleep easily in a chair, sleep apnea may be part of the picture. That can worsen nighttime urination too. Again, this is why I keep saying the body is a system. The prostate is important, but it does not live in isolation. So if I were speaking to you one-on-one and you asked me, should I add Moringa to my daily routine after 80 for prostate health? My answer would be this. Yes, it can be a reasonable and potentially helpful addition for many people, especially if you choose a quality leaf product, start with a small amount, use it consistently, and keep your expectations realistic. But I would immediately add that it works best as part of a complete plan, not as a standalone fix. I would want you to pair it with medical follow-up, better evening bladder habits, careful hydration timing, more daily movement, better nutrition, and attention to red flag symptoms. That is the truth. And in my view, the truth is powerful enough. You are not too old to improve your routine. You are not too old to sleep better. You are not too old to ask better questions, to review your medications, to strengthen your habits, to walk a little more, to eat a little better. and to stop handing all your power over to age. 80 is not the age to give up. It is the age to become more deliberate. So here is what I want you to do after this video. First, pay attention to your symptoms honestly. Second, if you have not been evaluated, schedule that conversation with your doctor. Third, if your clinician says it's appropriate, consider trying a reputable Moringa leaf product in a small daily amount and track how you feel. Fourth, clean up the basics that make the biggest difference: constipation, inactivity, late caffeine, alcohol, poor sleep, and too much fluid too close to bedtime. Do those things consistently, and you give yourself a much better chance of feeling more in control again. And if this message speaks to what you're going through, tell me in the comments. What is your biggest challenge right now with prostate or nighttime urination? And have you ever tried Moringa before? Your experience may help someone else take that first practical step. I want you to remember this above all. Your body may be older, but it is still responsive to care. And one wise daily habit can be the beginning of getting your nights, your energy, and your confidence back.